Hello everyone, welcome back to the Eat, Burn, Sleep podcast. Today we're going to be talking about osteopathy. We're going to be talking about your face, your jaw, your mouth, and the importance of all that area for your beauty, wellness, and well-being. My guest is Charlotte Mernier, who's a Belgian-French osteopath based in London, and she's the founder of My Osteo London. Charlotte has pioneered her Buccal massage, which is really popular these days with wellness enthusiasts like me and celebrities. Hi, Charlotte. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hi, Yelda. Thanks for having me.
So, you are more than just an osteopath, and you have specialized in the face, the jaw, and the neck area. Could you share a little bit about your background, your journey in becoming an osteopath in London?
So I did my master in Paris for 5 years. After graduating, I knew that I didn't want to stay in Paris. I hesitated to go back to Belgium, but then again, going back there, I was about to sign for a clinic in Brussels, and I said, well, maybe that's not for me now. And then I just came to London. So I did the English degree to be able to come and work here. And I got the English degree, and that's how I just established my business in London in 2015. So it's quite a while now.
I think it's not that long ago.
It's true.
The older you get, the faster the years go by.
Yeah, exactly. And life in London is so amazing that time flies.
Absolutely. So, how did you get to specialize in the jaw and develop this massage?
I was really intrigued by the jaw very early when I was studying osteopathy in Paris. I think it's because I was also suffering from the jaw myself. I was really a early grinder, I would say. I think I started maybe grinding my teeth as soon as I got teeth. And I realized that there was actually a lack of treatments there. So it's either you could have osteopathy treatments with intraoral techniques that were a bit painful, or you would go for facial with more massage of the face, but they wouldn't go really deep inside the muscle, so I would not really find any relief for myself. And I started to do self-massage through the years. So I've been an osteopath for the past 10 years, and I've been doing some training in lymphatic drainage, in sculptural facelifting, and with intraoral techniques, buccal massage. And I discovered that, there is something to do. There is something lacking nowadays in the wellness industry. I have a lot of patients at the clinic who are suffering from the jaw. So I started with them, asking them to come and to try. And I was adding a bit of this, a bit of that. And in the end, they told me, wow, okay, Charlotte, you've got something now, because it's at the same time good for aesthetic reasons and good for also jaw pain. And so, yeah, that's how I started this treatment.
Amazing. I came for one of your treatments. I'm just going to describe to our listeners how it felt. I have done buccal massages before, and indeed they're very painful when the person puts the thumb inside and really presses on the muscles. But with you, I was surprised as to how relaxing it was. And yes, indeed, there was a part where you put your fingers in my mouth, but it was not that painful at all. And afterwards, I had not only a sense of relief all over my face, my neck, my jaw, the back of my neck, the top of my head. All the tension I could feel was gone. But also, as you say, there was a beauty element about it, where the face is lifted, lymphatic drainage has happened, features are more defined. So yes, I mean, from a client's perspective, from my perspective, it felt like a mix between an osteopathic treatment and also a beauty treatment. And we know that everything works together. The muscles, tense muscles in the neck will pull down your jaw and give you jowls, and tension around the muscles of the head can make you look more tense on your face, increase the signs of aging. But can you explain what TMJ disorder is, and what are the signs that people can look for when trying to pinpoint if they have an issue with their jaw and any jaw pain?
TMJ actually means it's an acronym for temporal mandibular joint. So you would normally say that you have TMD, which is temporomandibular disorder, which means you actually have a problem in the jaw. Just for us to understand, so the movements of the jaw are allowed by the joint that is between the skull and the mandible. So this is the complex that is called the temporomandibular joint, and it's located just in front of both of your ears. The jaw realizes thousands of movements a day, which is allowing you to talk, to eat, to chew, to swallow, to kiss, to sing, and make facial expressions. This is why this joint, the temporal mandibular joint, can suffer from a lot of tensions. So some signs of TMD, temporomandibular disorders, and symptoms can be experiencing pain and tenderness in the face, in the jaw, especially like around your cheeks or at the angle of your mandible. You can also have pain aggravated by chewing and other jaw movements like eating or yawning. You can also have a limited mouth opening. Normally, you should be able to open your mouth like 3 fingers wide. So that's a good test to know also if you suffer from a spasm of your masseter's muscles. Also, a very popular symptom is the joint sounds, especially when you're eating or chewing. Some people can experience clicking in the jaw, which means like the disc inside the joint is not really happy. And another one that you might have suffered from, Yalda, is the tinnitus. Some people can indeed suffer from a sensation of water in the ear or perceived hearing loss or tinnitus.
Mm-hmm. So tinnitus is a sound of ringing in the ears, and I unfortunately contracted meningitis, bacterial meningitis in September 2022. And since I've been left with this side effect that comes and goes indeed. And I'm trying to keep my face and jaw relaxed so it doesn't come back. But also I remember when I was doing pregnancy yoga during my pregnancies, we were taught to really keep the jaw relaxed because there is a link between the pelvic area and the jaw. Do you believe in that? Do you think there is indeed, or is it just some kind of thing that we've made up? Is there a link between... From the research, I haven't researched it.
From the scientific studies nowadays, there is no link with posture and your jaw. I know that there is like a big trend at the moment to say that if you have tight pelvis, tight hips, it can be linked to a tight jaw. Of course, when you look more like anatomical facts, yes, there is a link because everything's linked. But myself, I stick more to scientific studies, and at the moment, even though there are like anatomical structures, there is no evidence between posture and the jaw. If all the patients I had at the clinic had tight hips and it would be linked to the jaw, I mean, like, it would be way easier for me, but I think it's not that simple.
That's interesting. It might be co-occurring, but not necessarily one causes the other one. There might not be.
Yes, yeah.
That makes absolute sense. Thanks for that. When you give this buccal treatment to people, what are you trying exactly to achieve? What are the aims of it?
The goals of my signature Buccal massage are to reduce the jaw tensions for sure, also reduce some other temporomandibular disorders symptoms like tension headaches. I do have a lot of people who clench their teeth and do suffer from tension headaches around the base of the skull or around the ears. So that's more for the wellness and healthy benefits. But then also you've got the aesthetic benefits like refine the face contour with a lifting of the face, sculpting the cheeks and the jawline, decrease puffiness by stimulating the lymphatic system. I do have a lot of patients also coming for that reason, for example, after a face surgery, a lifting, when it's been approved by their surgeon to really like drain the face. It also helps to improve the face muscles toning, increase cells oxygenation, resulting in a healthy glow, and stimulates the collagen production. And also to come back to jaw tensions, for people who've been under like orthodontic treatments like Invisalign braces, you can accumulate a lot of tension in your jaw because of the braces and the fact that we're just forcing your teeth to be in a certain movement. I do have a lot of patients, whether teenagers or adults now with Invisalign, who come to just get a relief during their treatment.
Yes, I guess if the teeth move and there is tension happening, particularly, I guess, at night when people are not talking or doing anything, and it's just that happening.
Yes, especially now with the Invisalign, you have to wear the retainers all day, almost 23 hours per day. So during the night, when you do have this device in your mouth, people tend to clench more their teeth, which creates even more tensions because, of course, when you're sleeping, you're not conscious about the clenching, which is why when you wake up in the morning, you can experience even more tension and pains in the face, in the jaw, and even tension headaches or neck tensions also. I do have patients telling me that they're not sure they're clenching, they're not sure they have any troubles with the jaw, but they describe severe neck tensions when they wake up in the morning. That can be linked to clenching or grinding.
Okay, so that's a sign of that. And obviously that creates damage to the teeth as well. And there's a very strong link between mouth health and the microbiome. So that is going to impact the entire health, actually, if our mouth is not optimal and our teeth are not so healthy. Can you give us examples of drastic changes that happened in practice of people who came for this treatment? What kind of results have you seen? It's time for a little break. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying today's podcast. A reminder to all our listeners to subscribe, rate, and share this podcast with your friends and anyone who might enjoy listening to it. We also have a discount code for all our podcast listeners, which I will be sharing at the end. Keep listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Can you give us examples of drastic changes that happened in practice of people who came for this treatment? What kind of results have you seen?
So what I'm very satisfied with, it's I've had patients who've been suffering with tension headaches for ages, and they were told nothing was really going to help them, and they had to maybe get neck Botox or stuff like that, injections. And they came because they heard about me, and after 1 or 2 sessions they had no more headaches. I even had one more this morning, and she came, and it was her first session today, and she was here a month ago, and she said, Charlotte, I'm touching wood every day, but since I saw you, I haven't had any tension headaches. And she said it just changed my life. And when I hear people who've been suffering for ages who come and actually discover what it is to leave and wake up without pain, for me it's just a huge victory.
Amazing. What are the tips that we can implement every day to try and have a healthy jaw and holding our mouth in a healthy manner and our tongue and all that area? What are the basic things we should be doing or not doing?
There are a lot of tips you can implement in your daily life, but I would say the first thing first, if you're listening to this podcast, is to actually ask yourself, am I clenching my teeth? And if yes, your teeth should not be in contact. You cannot imagine the number of people. I think 99% of the people who are going to ask themselves this question now are going to realize that their teeth are actually in contact. So first thing first, no contact between your teeth, tongue up behind your upper teeth in the clucking position, and you relax the jaw, neck, roll down the shoulders, and take a deep breath. Exactly, Yelda.
I'm doing all of it as you're talking.
You're clenching, I'm sure. So yeah, check your buccal position, especially when you're at work behind your computer. Just check your jaw position. Also, you need to correct your posture, because when you have your head forward, it can actually engage clenching. So whether you're in the car or you're sitting or cooking, be careful if you have your head forward to unclench your teeth and clench your jaw. Then also there are things like having good eating habits. So it's better to cut your food in tiny pieces. Try to chew on both sides, not always eat on the same side. Then also you need to avoid bad oral habits. For example, biting your nails, chewing gum. This is very bad for the jaw. So please stop chewing gum.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, can you expand on this?
Well, when you chew gum, it's the same as if you're biting your nails or biting some pens during the day. You kind of always do it on the same side, which is making your joints of the temporomandibular joint overwork. So if you already suffer from too much pressure linked to the clenching and you then overwork the disc, that can then lead to more disorders and the clicking of the joint.
Interesting. So I try to stop myself from chewing gum because there are so many sweeteners in it, there's plastic in it. I mean, we know it's not great for you. And also, I believe that it probably overstimulates the secretion of enzymes at the stomach level. But, I love chewing gum. So here is another reason not to do it. But what you're describing about always chewing on one side, it's interesting you're saying this because I have noticed that I do that. I definitely chew more on the right side, and my right side is slightly more prominent than my left side. But it's comfortable. So what do? Do we force ourselves to move the food on the other side consciously?
So normally you should cut your food in tiny pieces and try to put the food on both sides of your mouth, or at least alternate. But if you do realize that every meal you're always chewing on one side, this is going to create even more tensions and even more disorders with your jaw. So try to alternate. And in your case, if you're always chewing on the right side, don't try then now like to put your food on the left side. This is not going to work. But more like alternate or on both sides.
That makes complete sense.
You can check your sleeping position, which is important. So if you already suffer from jaw tensions, try to avoid sleeping on your front because it's going to make you have your teeth in contact. So sleep on your side or on your back. Also have a healthy lifestyle, which seems like obvious, but have a healthy diet. So avoid inflammatory food, refined sugars. Also avoid caffeine and alcohol as these are stimulants of the muscle activity. So if you already have muscle hyperactivity with the clenching and grinding at night, and then during the day you keep on with alcohol and coffee, well, this is not going to help. Physical activity, meditation, breathing exercises, whatever you can to reduce your stress levels. And then stop smoking is also a good one to stop also the bad habits with jaw position. Then you can also put reminders or even put an alarm on your phone to help you make it more conscious and ask yourself the question several times during the day again, am I clenching my teeth? And to finish with, you've got several like self-massage exercises that you can do easily at home. I usually recommend my patients to do them like 3-4 times a week to have a routine, either morning if you wake up with tensions or pains, or in the evening while you're watching TV to relax before going to bed. But again, the goal is to do them on a regular basis because otherwise sometimes people forget that your jaw muscles, your face muscles, they're like the other muscles in your body. So it's like going to the gyms once in the month and expecting results, and you're like, oh, well, I'm still not fit. Nothing happened. Well, it's the same for the jaw. Be regular.
Absolutely. Because I noticed that when I massage my head, so I have this little roller from Nurse Jamie, which I roll on my scalp before going to bed. And when I do that, I feel my face completely relaxing. Is that something, is it just in my head or is it a fact? Is it linked?
I mean, I guess this is linked because also you're massaging yourself, so you're producing oxytocins, like relaxing hormones, and you can also like be relaxing the temporalis area, which is linked to the jaw. So this is all part of well-being. Self-massage.
Yes, I do that in the evenings. It makes me feel very relaxed. When it comes to diet, I'm going to expand a little bit. The reason why your dietary choices will be so linked to how your muscles behave is because it directly impacts your central nervous system. For example, if you're running on caffeine and sugar, you're going to have ups and downs. Your central nervous system is going to be overstimulated, and then there's going to be a crash, and then you're having it again because you're having a drop in blood sugar levels because of insulin kicking in, and you're basically on a roller coaster of blood sugar levels going up and down, and all the while that's happening, it's also kicking up your cortisol levels and overstimulating your central nervous system, hence an impact on your sleep. So we see in people who are on the eat, burn, sleep lifestyle, they very quickly feel very relaxed. And also when you improve your gut health, because your neurotransmitters are mainly produced in your gut, So 90% of your serotonin, your melatonin, your dopamine, all your neurotransmitters, the majority are produced in the small intestine. When you improve your microbiota, that improves also your cortisol levels, it lowers it increases serotonin, increases melatonin, better sleep. And that's one of the reasons why days where we don't eat well, we don't sleep as well.
Yeah, exactly. And in regard to the jaw, it is important to have a healthy diet, especially as you said, avoid inflammatory foods, to try to keep at minimal level the inflammation of the joint, of the temporomandibular joints, so that also you won't have like that muscle tightness around.
And you mentioned people having their heads forward. So these days, we're driving, we're looking at our phones, we have the neck slightly tilted forward. So what's a good tip to stop doing that?
So a good tip to keep a good posture is, well, to check on yourself first. Try to always put back your head up and always like create space between your chin, neck, and shoulders. So try to like kind of spread your head towards the roof and shoulders down. Then again, if you tend to spend a lot of time your head forward with computers, phones, and then watching TV in the evening in the sofa, So muscle strengthening is the key for better posture. You just need to strengthen your back.
And that's also linked to the digestive system. So the vagus nerve links the spine to the digestive system, and also our gastrointestinal tract directly sits on the spine. And there is such a strong link. I know that when my diet is not so good, I get more back pain. It's really closely linked. For many years, before I started this lifestyle really, I always had chronic back pain. In my 20s, I had to go every week to the physio to try and release the tension. And since I've implemented this better way of eating and regular anti-inflammatory exercise, Pilates-based workout, trying to work on my posture, it's improved massively. It's quite fascinating because every time I do a podcast with a health specialist, so whether it's you're an osteopath, or when I did a podcast with a Rabia Malik, who's a dermatologist, a GP specializing in skin health and collagen production, it always comes back to the same thing. All the systems are connected. The musculoskeletal system, the digestive system, the nervous system, the respiratory system, hormonal system, everything is interconnected. So the way of being healthy, we come back to this same thing, which is support every single system a little bit all the time.
Yeah, I guess this is why we need to have a holistic approach and try to be on every level for the best health we can get.
Exactly. So, Charlotte, one last question. You've done extremely well. You studied in France, you came to London, you created this new method, you've established yourself with your Buccal signature Buccal massage. What gives you drive every day to continue as an osteopath, as a businesswoman, as an influencer, to do all these things?
Honestly, just the joy of seeing patients getting better, helping with my hands. That was the main goal that brought me to become an osteopath. So just my lovely patients, hearing beautiful stories, seeing healthier and healthier patients. This is my thing.
That is your why.
Exactly. That's my why.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure having you with us today. I'm going to be linking your website, your Instagram page, so people can come and find you. I'm so happy that we discussed the jaw today, TMJ, TMD, and hopefully people are enlightened from this. So keep your head straight, shoulders down, chin back, breathe, and jaw unclenched. Are these the main things to remember?
Exactly. The main thing to remember is relax your jaw. Thank you so much for having me, Yelda. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all of you for listening to this podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. It's always such a pleasure to talk about health because it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. looking after our health is a daily thing, just like brushing our teeth. We've got to focus on it, we've got to do it right so we can live better and happier lives. For those of you who are not members of the platform yet, we have a discount code for all our podcast listeners. You can get 15% off the memberships. Just enter the code podcast15 at checkout. Thank you, and make sure to read all the articles and all the free content we have on eatbrainsleep.com to keep you motivated and informed and educated about living an anti-inflammatory lifestyle.